Good afternoon. I'm going to give you my mildly spoiler-free review of Star Wars Rogue One, which I watched last night. First up, I dug the movie. Thought it was good, thought it was fun, but it had a lot of problems. Mainly, it was pacing. The movie felt about 30 minutes too short. The intro or the opening sequence could have been about 2 or 3 times as long, introducing the characters. It was really fast. You just kind of dove right in. I understand it's kind of the thing these days. The movie's moving along, but you really didn't get much of a chance to get to know the characters. And when people were no longer part of the story, you didn't really care that much. Things just kind of went a little too fast. The other thing was the score was good, but it wasn't John Williams. I don't know how you do Star Wars without John Williams, especially the opening. You want to see that scroll across the screen. You want to hear the theme. You want to feel like you're at a Star Wars film. Wasn't there, didn't have it, just felt lacking. It was good, but it wasn't. It's like watching Indiana Jones without the Indiana Jones theme. You're like, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't feel like Indiana Jones. It's nice seeing Star Wars without George Lucas at this point. Whether you liked or disliked the J.J. Abrams film last year, I think George kind of got a little too tinkery with his movies the last few years and, to put it bluntly, ruined them. The crap he did to the original trilogy was just atrocious. The other three films, you might as well write those things off. This one had a lot more in common with the original trilogy, probably the original versions as well. Very practical, which is nice. CGI was kept to a blissful minimum by today's standards, and for the most part worked really well. There are a lot of characters that popping up in various places, some large roles, some very small roles, but it had way less of a small universe feel than some of George's films. There's no Chewbacca with Yoda out of the blue, and the cameos that did pop up felt like they deserved to be there. Didn't feel forced. The CGI reintroduction of some of the original trilogy characters, for the most part, worked rather well. I don't think I'm giving any major spoilers away, although if you haven't watched a film and you don't want to know anything, stop now. Grand Admiral Tarkan is a fairly large role. Obviously, can't have the same actor. That was a long time ago. Whoever they used for the voice work, to make the CGI work, his character worked pretty well. Still looks a little fake, but not too bad. There was a character who is in the very, very, very end, and if you know the story, how it goes from this movie into New Hope, you can probably guess who that is. That looked a little fake, or actually looked really fake. But once again, didn't feel forced. Felt like part of the story. Kind of made sense. I did think that Vader felt a little off. It was nice seeing him back on screen. He's not in it a lot, but his scenes are pivotal, and he's back to being a badass, which is nice. I suppose the little whiny brat from the first three prequel films. But his presence felt a little off. I don't think you really realize how much David Prowse brought to that character with the way he moved, the way he stood, until you see somebody else in that outfit, and it just doesn't quite have that presence. James Earl Jones back sounds great. Dialogue was good. Character felt right. It's just the way it the way he stood. I guess when they made the original Vader costume, they actually molded the actor's body for it. So and he was a bodybuilder. The guy's a big bodybuilder. So it really felt right, looked right, had a presence to it. This almost felt like they could have been putting somebody on stilts. It just didn't have that power that you are used to seeing in seeing Vader. But minor quips. Overall felt good. I think just the biggest thing was just that the movie just felt way too fast, and you kind of felt like you didn't really care that much. I mean, you know what's gonna happen. You know going the story, like you know where it ends up because it ends up in the going to the first film. The only real question is who lives, who dies, and that's kind of about it. And because the way it was paced so fast, you really didn't get to know very many characters. Even though there's a fairly large cast of people you're supposed to care about, you didn't really care if they didn't make it or not. It was just kind of like, oh, that person's not going to be any more scenes. All right, next. And some of the ad campaigns kind of make other people's roles seem a lot bigger than they actually are, which seems to be a director's kind of thing. Gareth Edwards did the same thing with Godzilla with Bryan Cranston. All of the ads, you think he's going to be a huge role, dies, 15 minutes in. Once again, spoiler. I'm not going to say who dies, but there's someone big in the ad campaigns who's not there throughout the whole movie. But overall, it's worthwhile going to see. I'd probably, if I saw it again or had the option, I'd probably go see it in 2D. It's not really necessary in 3D. I'm getting kind of over the 3D thing. The dark screens, just too much moving around. It takes 10 minutes in the movie for your eyes finally figure out what the hell's going on. You get started adjusting the depth of field. I think just save yourself a couple bucks, see it in 2D. It doesn't have to be seen in 3D. And well, that's about it. That was my little spoiler-free, I guess, or semi-spoiler-free review. I will give the whole film, I don't know, 3 stars out of 4. I don't know. I don't really do movie reviews. I just said last night that I would see it and say something about it, so I want to say something about it. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. See you guys tomorrow.